Welcome back to Sioux Falls and the Summit League Basketball Media Day, and it is time for the Jackrabbits, joined by Aaron Johnston, the women's head coach at South Dakota State University. And Coach, I was just looking back, 19 years now as the head coach, 14 years in Division I. Do those glory days in Division II, does that seem like forever ago, or does that just seem like a little bit ago?
It's a different hair color ago, that's for sure. Yeah, you know, for me, it all kind of blends together. I don't really look at there being a separation, because when I think back to those past teams, you think about the people, the players. And you don't really associate the division with them, but you think of a Melissa Pater or a Brenda Davis or, you know, Shannon Schlegel, that group, and now you've been thinking about a Kristen Rodert or a Megan Vogel or a Macy Miller, you know, so you think about the great players on those teams. But we've had enough success where it kind of runs together, and that's a good thing, but there's a lot of good memories over those years.
Yeah. All right. Newitt, take us through where this program's at right now.
Well, first of all, you got a lot of players back, and so that always puts, I think, in a unique position as a coach. Like, how do you approach the offseason differently? Let's start there when you've got a veteran team back versus maybe one where you got a little bit more molding to do.
Yeah, you know, it's still trying to challenge those veterans and finding ways to improve. And I think for all of our players, we ask them to continue to be more versatile as they get older. So Macy Miller last year, for instance, first 2 years pretty much played a lot of point guard. Last year we played her off the ball some. She was coming back from injury, but that still helped, I think, her grow. Maya Sellen's one, where last year a lot of forward spot. This year we've asked her to be more of a 2-3 and a 4. And so those are just a couple of examples. But you ask those returners to take steps forward and find ways to challenge them. And then it is about bringing a new group ahead. And we've got 5 freshmen. Never played college basketball before, and that's a big jump for them. So our returners have to help them mold and kind of jump into it. But really finding those individual ways that group can improve and really challenging them, and they've been really open to it.
Talked about Macy Miller a little bit and the injury 2 years ago, and came back last year, had a really great year again. She's 600 points away from being the all-time scoring leader in the Summit League, and then you add Maddie Giebert to that. But talk a little bit about what Macy has done in her time as a Jackrabbit.
Yeah, and I've said this before here this fall. I have never been great about talking up individual players. That's never been a strong suit of mine. But Macy will literally be one of the best women's college players to play in our area, let alone South Dakota State and in the conference. You mentioned that conference scoring record. So just a phenomenal history there. It's not just Macy. It's a family name, kind of an iconic name in the state that's always been there in men's and women's basketball. So it's neat to see Macy carry that torch here for a few more months. But she's just a great person, a phenomenal player. And you mentioned it, like Maddie Giebert will also have a chance to be a record book type player. And here we've got 2 seniors that bring that kind of ability to our backcourt. That's a pretty special thing. And they make each other better, not just in practice, but defenses have a chance to really focus on one or the other, and it really creates some space for the other one. So they've definitely benefited from playing together.
Just watching some of Maddie Giebert's game here. She's 43 pointers made away from Joe Young's Summit League record, another former Jackrabbit, but just her offensive skills are off the charts, aren't they, Maddie Giebert?
Yeah, you know, I think what really helped her too is when Macy was injured, quite honestly, she was asked to do a lot more. In her, freshman year, in beginning, she was a catch-and-shoot player. And then as Macy got hurt, we used her a lot more at the point guard spot. And now it's, Maddie, we need you to get to the basket. We need you to create more. And that really kind of stretched her game a little bit. And then as Macy came back, those two learned how to really play together. And Maddie's become very complete, where she's not just a shooter. She's someone that gets to the free throw line, gets to the rim, and really one of the best, I think, perimeter defensive players in our league. When you put her on somebody, she really locks them down. So, again, those two do so much more than just score, but they'll be a big part of everything we do.
Yeah, great place to start. What else are they going to have, Brad?
Yeah, so Maya Sellen had a terrific freshman year, although had to battle through some injuries. What have you, first of all, liked about her game coming in as a freshman last year, and what improvements have you seen out of her in the offseason? Too.
Yeah, no, you're right. Just felt so bad for her. Really 3 separate injuries that freshman year that took her out of our lineup. Really could have been a starter all year long and just never quite got there. But when we played really well last year in February, we used Maya a lot at that 3-4 spot. And early in the year, we just never quite got her there with some injuries. Her versatility this year in practice has been phenomenal. She really is handling the ball quite a bit. She's a tremendous passer. She's never been someone that tries to score a ton, although she can. We've used her in the post. We've used her on the perimeter. She can defend different spots. Macy and Maddie can do some really special things at their position. Maya can do special things at her position that'll create some matchup problems for us. And like the other two, just a great person, just fun to be around, great teammate. Everybody loves her, and she'll be a lot of fun to coach.
And just a sophomore, Tylee Irwin's another sophomore. And these are kids that could probably be starters or support players. You're going to have a little leeway on who you can start and who's going to come off the bench.
Yeah, we'll feel that way. The players might have a different picture of what they want to see happen, but those are good challenges to have. We've got a group of probably 7 or 8 players that could rotate in and out of a starting kind of rotation, to be quite honest with you. But their playing time isn't going to change whether they have that title or don't. Riley Jensen's another one off the bench for us last year, played some point, really allows us to move Macy around and kind of separate those people. We haven't really talked about her, but Sid Palmer is another senior, just a great glue fit person. Watching her lately in practice, she'll make some open shots, but she never misses an open teammate on the perimeter. She could probably take a shot, but she always makes sure that next pass going to Macy or Maddie is there on time and on target, and the group just really seems to fit together. We are going to be a little thin in the post. That's certainly an area of concern, and we're going to have to address that. We've got some really good young players that I think will help us, but Tegan will be someone that absorbs some more minutes there, and then we're going to need somebody to kind of step up who maybe hasn't had a big role yet.
That was actually going to be my next question. You look back to 2 years ago, you lose Clarissa over to graduation, just a great defensive presence, rim protector, if you will, inside, and then I thought last year Ellie Thompson moved into that role in her own way. Right. Does that change maybe philosophically anything you have to do defensively without maybe a true dominant maybe post in there to help you?
Yeah, I think so. If you look at our teams over the years, many of them have been built with just really good forward post type players. Even some of our really good perimeter players are almost like 3-4s, but now you've got Macy and Maddie that are true combo point guards. And so we do have to work hard, I think, inside. Some of it will be defensively, some will be rebounding, and then even scoring. We're going to need somebody that can score in the post some. That's just kind of how we're still built and structured, and we're going to have to do some things to take some pressure off some of our perimeter players. But Tegan's been great so far this summer and into the fall. Really ready to have, I think, a big year after kind of fitting in last year, transferring from Iowa, and kind of getting her feet under her. I think she's ready to have a big year for us.
Those freshmen you talked about, Peyton Burkhardt from Aberdeen Central in South Dakota. South Dakota fans want to know what are the plans for her as a freshman?
With Peyton, we really like where she's at. She's going to play quite a bit for us right away. She comes from such a winning culture there. They've won forever in every sport, so she understands kind of what it takes to be successful. And she's done a great job of just being, your true, blue-collar post. She's incredibly physical, gets a ton of rebounds. And she's realized pretty early on she doesn't have to do a ton offensively. She has to fit well with some of those other good players. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see her play an awful lot for us. We're really high on Peyton. She's done a great job here in the first few months.
If you can rebound misses and kick it back out, you're a pretty good teammate.
Everyone likes that player a lot. Everyone likes that player a lot. And she runs the floor. She can score. I think she's a little further ahead offensively with her back to the basket against college-level post players than we thought. But the other kind of hustle plays, you saw her do that for so many years in Aberdeen, and now it's nice to see her do that in the yellow and blue.
Let's take a look at the preseason schedule here, and it is a gauntlet for sure. You got Marquette, Florida Gulf Coast. All these teams made the NCAA tournament last year. Creighton had a win in the NCAA tournament. Oregon, you see there at home, was 33 wins last year. This is stacking up tougher than usual, it even looks like.
Yeah, it's just so hard to go back and compare and really know for sure are the numbers, tougher.
Yeah.
When you look at all the postseason success that many of these teams have had, that's pretty daunting. Showcased by, I think, Oregon coming to Frost Arena. That's one of the things we've really tried hard over the years is to have those marquee, really special matchups come to Frost, and we'll get that. Baylor, again, in a neutral site is certainly I wouldn't say a rivalry, but there's some history there from our first NCAA tournament, so we'll be anxious to get a chance at them. But then you look at the Midwest and you see every traditionally dominant mid-major team, they're on our schedule, and I just really like that. So it's going to be a bear, it's going to be a challenge. If we don't play well, we're gonna lose some games. There's no doubt about that. But we'll be better for it, we think, and we still have a chance to really pull off quite a few good wins there too.
I gotta ask, how do you guys continually get good high major teams to come to Frost? I mean, last year we saw Louisville come in, and you guys almost got them. So it's not like the warning signs haven't been there for these teams that this is a place that they could lose. How are you able to get a team like Oregon to come in?
You know, a team like Oregon has their own challenges in scheduling. There's not a long line of people waiting to play Louisville or Notre Dame or Oregon or some of those people, so they have their own challenges. And usually those teams all kind of end up in June of the upcoming year looking around at each other going, well, some of us are going to have to play here. And I'm not putting us in their category. I'm just talking teams that have a hard time scheduling. And as long as you're willing to go on the road and play at their place, it's always worked out where we've gotten some of them. Our coaching staff has been in it for a long time. We know a lot of those people. I think that helps. And hopefully it continues because it's been great for our fan base and for our players.
Yep. All right. Elena Lanston has some questions from social media for Coach Aaron Johnston.
Hey, Coach. Fans want to know, is it easier or harder to recruit both regionally and nationally with all the success that the team has had?
You know, I think success usually kind of breeds success, so I think it's a huge positive. It really opens up, I think, more doors in the recruiting process for us to go out and really sell, I think, a great message and a great experience for what young women can be a part of at South Dakota State. The challenge is, as a coach, you always try and continue to reach a little higher with the caliber of player you recruit. So some of the schools that we recruit against now, I think people would be really surprised and not really thinking that that's who it would be. But I think overall it's been a big positive for us.
And they also want to hear all about Tina's best assets.
Best assets. I'm not sure I know what that one is.
Who? We're not sure who that is. Tina?
Macy's best assets?
Yeah, we could do.
Yeah.
Tell us about Macy's best assets.
We'll go with that. What are Macy's best assets?
Yeah.
Well, I think Macy's best assets are her ability just to play and what she gets done on the court. But I still think, whether you're talking about Macy with us or any of our players, they're just all such good people, you know. And I think you get a chance to know so many of the other players in our league. As coaches, we compete so hard. I think if we traded a lot of players and got to work with a lot of the other women in our league, I think we'd all have the same things to say. It's just a great group of people that you compete against and get to know, and that part's been fun.
All right, Coach, appreciate it very much. South Dakota State, 26 wins last year, 12-2 in Summer League play, Summer League tournament champions, and they're going to be good again this year. Thanks to Coach Aaron Johnston and the STSU women. Up next here at Media Day, we will talk about Mike Dahm and the Jackrabbit men with head coach TJ Otzelberger.